few years back, my dad and I rented a fishing boat to go deep-sea fishing. It was one of our favorite hobbies to do together, and it never got boring. Many times, we would be gone for the entire day and not come home till dark. In this case, we had left early and were already drinking beers around 7 a.m. We were maybe 2 hours into the trip when something strange happened. And just to help paint the picture, we were out deep in the Atlantic Ocean. I'm talking, the nearest land was over 5 miles away, and all we could see was ocean blue. Well, we had our own speaker where we would be playing music from. We were both at the front of the boat, just chatting when we heard the music stop playing, and we heard this splash. We went to the back of the boat where the speaker was and didn't see it. I looked over the boat and saw it sinking fast in the water. Me, being young and adventurous, took my phone out of my pocket and was about to jump in and get it. But before I could, my dad grabbed me by the shirt and said, "Wait." He pointed in the water. Just below the surface, maybe 3 feet deep, something was circling the boat. I know this will sound absolutely crazy, but the best way I can describe it was this dead body, almost like a zombie from a movie. But it wasn't dead, and it was looking right up at us. My dad quickly went to go and grab a life preserver and was about to throw it in. Honestly, I think my dad thought it was someone in actual distress or drowning. But as I kept looking, it was just this zombie-like figure swimming around our boat and looking up at us. I had a really bad feeling and went to tell my dad not to throw the life preserver in. But when we got back to the side of the boat, it was gone. We scanned the water everywhere and didn't see anything. I was really freaked out at this point, and that's when I saw the footprints. They were fresh, wet footprints on the side of the boat that went to the captain's chair. This wasn't a big boat either, mind you, so if someone had climbed on board, we would have definitely seen them. We honestly just couldn't explain it. I know I'll sound like a bitch, but I told my dad I wanted to get back to land right now. I even saw the fear in my dad's eyes as he agreed with me. When we finally made it back to shore, my dad and I drove home, wondering what in the world we experienced. Neither of us could come up with an explanation that was remotely reasonable. We told our family and friends, and they all think we made it up for a quick laugh. I only wish I actually took a picture of it to prove what we saw was real. We still go deep-sea fishing from time to time, and I'd be lying if I said I wasn't terrified we run into that thing again. Be safe out there, guys, especially in the deep ocean. I live on the East Coast in a coastal town. My whole family has lived here for generations, and sometimes I feel like I have salt water running through my veins instead of blood. One of the greatest joys of my life has always been boating. There's just something about watching the sunset on the ocean that touches my soul that I can't quite explain. Anyway, last year, my girlfriend of over 5 years and I broke up. I'm not gonna lie, I was devastated and going through moments of depression. The only thing I could do to help cure that was to take my boat and go out to the ocean and just ponder my life. I had been doing this for almost a week straight. I'd leave my house early morning and come back late at night. Well, one night as I was heading back home, I had gone out exceptionally far. I normally don't go out into deep ocean, but because of my depression, I just felt like the farther I went out, the better I would feel. It was very dark out in the water, and I had maybe another 20 minutes before I would be back to my dock. My boat, which was a 30-foot yellowfin, had suddenly stopped working. All the mechanical and lights just shut off, and I was stuck floating in the water in pitch black. I'm not sure if you've ever been in the ocean at night, but when I say it was dark, I mean it. I couldn't even see my hands in front of me. Panicked, I quickly grabbed my phone out of my pocket and pressed the flashlight. I went to the engine to see what the issue was, but there literally was nothing wrong with it. I honestly couldn't explain it. At this point, I was calling my parents because I wasn't able to use the radio on board, but I wasn't getting a signal as I was too far out at sea. And that's when I first heard it. There was a voice coming somewhere from the darkness. At first I thought it was maybe the water splashing my boat, but then I heard, quite clearly, my name being called. I scanned my light out into the water, looking for something, anything. I was alone. Worried that I might be having cabin fever, I continued to try and hold my phone up to capture some kind of signal. That's when my boat suddenly lurched forward. It was almost as if some great big crane had yanked it. I nearly fell overboard, but in the sudden movement, I dropped my phone into the ocean. I can't explain the horror I felt. And that's when I heard it again. It was my name, being called out from the dark ocean somewhere. I couldn't see anything, but the voice was low and breathless, but I was clearly hearing my name. I was so terrified that I actually started to cry. And I cried because I thought I was certainly going to die out here and no one would find me. I was able to squat down on the corner of my boat and just started to pray. Pray for anything. Pray for help. I've never been a religious person, but I prayed like my life depended on it. Then, without warning, my boat engine came alive and the lights turned back on. I didn't hesitate a second and went to the cockpit and started to head forward. But as I turned around in the spot I was just stuck at, I swear on everyone I love, there, floating in the water, was this face. It didn't look male or female. It was this pale, expressionless face, from the eyes up, staring directly at me. I drove so fast I thought my engine would break down again. I made it to my dock and went home. I honestly haven't told anyone this story, as I don't believe anyone would believe it, and I don't want them thinking I'm some kind of lunatic. I still have nightmares of that face in the water, and my voice being called out from the darkness. Now, whenever I take my boat out, I never go where I cannot see land. I'm not sure what the hell is out there, but I never want to find out. My family owns a summer house out in California. During the summer months, we spend most of our time out there and take our boat out. I say boat, but technically it's a yacht, and 48 feet at that. I'm the only one in my friend group who owns a yacht, so of course all my friends love to come and visit. To set the scene, it was me and my 4 other girlfriends. I do have my boating license, so I'm legally able to operate the yacht by myself. The only plans we had that day was to take the yacht out and enjoy the ocean. I do want to state that I never go out too far. I usually keep it within distance of the land, but for some reason, me and all my friends were feeling extra adventurous that day and decided to go far out. I took the yacht out at least a half an hour away, until we reached a point where we couldn't see any land and were completely surrounded by water. I did not feel comfortable taking it out any farther, and decided to shut the yacht off and float around for a bit. We did our usual thing, listened to music, gossiped, and threw shrimp over the boat to watch little fish eat it. It was a completely normal day, until it wasn't. My one friend, who was feeling very adventurous, popped up out of her seat and jumped into the ocean without a warning. Everyone laughed and thought it was funny, but I was responsible for everyone on board, and my heart started to race. I told her to get back on the boat now, but she only laughed at me, and my other friends told me to stop being a Karen and to live a little. I can't explain it, but I felt this strange feeling of dread overwhelm me. I didn't care what names they called me. I yelled out in a commanding voice for her to get back on the boat right now. She nodded her head and started to swim back. Just then, she was suddenly pulled underwater. Some of my friends laughed, thinking she was playing a prank or something, but she wasn't reappearing to the surface. My heart sunk as she suddenly emerged forward and started screaming. That's when I saw the water around her was slowly turning red. She let out this animalistic scream and yelled there's a shark. Maybe 10 yards from her, we all saw this dark black fin moving along the water. She was screaming and swimming for her life back to the boat. I had a rope on board and tossed it out to her. She was crying bloody murder, and the fin started to get closer and closer to her. I yelled at her not to look back and to grab the rope. She did, and me and all my friends started to pull her towards us. I was so focused on pulling her back up that I did not notice the fin had gone underwater, which meant the shark was most likely about to attack again. She reached the bow of the boat, and we all lifted her up in one pull. The yacht shook violently for a second as we realized the shark had bumped it, trying to get our friend. I won't go into great detail, but my friend was bleeding from her thigh down, and the bite marks were so deep that we could see her bones. We rushed her to the hospital. In the end, my friend ended up losing 2 of her left toes. She now has to use this cane occasionally due to the permanent nerve damage in her leg as well. Yes, it was an absolute nightmare, but I'm just glad my friend is alive and well to this day. Never underestimate the power of Mother Nature. When you're out in the ocean, especially deep out, you are in someone else's house, and that someone might not like it that you're there. Stay safe, everyone.